तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। ओम गुरुदेव भगवान शिव शंकर भोलेनाथ कैलाशपति महाराज की जय, भगवान व्यास जी महाराज की जय, शंकराचार्य भगवान की जय, स्वामी चिन्मयानंद भगवान की जय, स्वामी दयानंद भगवान की जय, स्वामी प्रबुद्धानंद भगवान की जय, स्वामी शुद्धानंद भगवान की जय, स्वामी साध्वी आनंद ज्योति जी की जय, माता पिता की जय, सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय, सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्रीमद् भागवत गीता chapter 4 and we have seen till verse number 19. यस्य सर्वे समारंभा कामसंकल्पवर्जितः ज्ञानाग्निदग्धकर्माणि तमाहु पंडिता बुद्धः। 19th verse. This was, we have seen this. Here Bhagavan says, the one for whom all undertakings are free from binding desire and will, whose actions are burnt by the fire of knowledge, the sage call him as wise. The one who undertakes the karma without any desire, free from all desires and will, sankalpa, his actions don't result in karma phalas, because his actions become inaction because of knowledge, because of jnana. He knows that he is a karta. He understands the akarta. He is kratsan karma krit, the one for whom everything that was to be done has been done. There is nothing to be done for this person. He is jnani. This is what Bhagavan says in verse number 19. In verse number 20 he says, all that is given up in one's attachment to the result of action. The one that is given up is one's attachment to the results of action. We are attached to the results of action. This is what Bhagavan says. We will try to read the shloka. Tyaktava karma phala sanga nityatraptau nirashriyah karmannebhi pravakto api naiva kinchit karoti saha. tyaktva. Giving up. With such saha, he. Karma phala asangam. Karma phala asangam. Deep attachment to the results of action. Tyaktva, giving up. Nitya triptaha, always contented. Nirasaraha, being not dependent on anything. Karmani, in action. Abhiparvrataha, fully engaged. Api, even though. Kinchit, anything. Iva, indeed. Na karoti, does not do. Giving up the deed, attachment to the result of action, always contented. Being not dependent on anything, he or she does not do anything, even though fully engaged in the action. Giving up the deep attachment to the result. If there is no attachment to the result of action, and always contented, being not dependent on anything, he or she does not do anything, even though fully engaged in the action. The person who is fully engaged in the action, and if he doesn't have any desire, he is not attached to the karma phalas. Then he is not doing anything despite of being engaged in the karma. Sangha is attachment and asanga is deep, fast attachment towards the result of action, karma phala. The wise person has no fast attachment towards the karma phala, the result, because no one perform action without expecting results. The word asanga is used in this verse. The point to be understood here is that a jnani does not get anything out of a result. The person's welfare is not bettered or his or her happiness increased no matter what the action or its result is. It is because the wise person has given up all dependence on the attachment to the result of action. It is not the karma or the karma phala that is given up by the jnani, only the deep attachment that one has to the results of action. This is made very clear here because the possibility of giving up karma phala is often questioned. The only reason a person performs action is because one has an eye on the result of action. Even while walking, the place you want to reach is kept in view. If you want to go, if you have to first decide where you want to go, only then you start the action. So you are always behind. All the actions are for the karma phala, the result. Even you turn here and go straight there because that is what you have to do to arrive at where you are going. Without keeping the end in view, you cannot undertake any type of action. How then can this attachment be given up? How can you give up karma phalas? If you are not able to reach your destination, why should you not become upset? In fact, this is exactly what happens to the people and is what is called asakti or asanga. If you are unable to accomplish something and it affects you, then you have karma phala asakti, karma phala asanga. Suppose there is someone who is always contented, nitya triptaha. For such person there is nothing to accomplish. The self being what it is and also known to the person, there is no dependence whatsoever. Who upon any particular karma phala for his or her contentment. From this description of wise person, we understand that other people do things for satisfaction, tripti, for achieving something out of the action done. If you are dissatisfied with yourself, you undertake something or the other in order to get some kind of satisfaction or some self-approval, just to prove yourself, because there is some satisfaction in self-approval. You want to prove yourself to be somebody, either it is either in your own eyes or in the eyes of another. The problem here is that you do not accept yourself as you are. The problem is you are not ready to accept yourself as you are. This is the only reason someone else's opinion can be so important to you, and is in fact the problem of any sansari. Only when the self is clear, then there is self-knowledge. Can one be happy by oneself, with oneself, as we saw in the 3rd chapter. This happiness does not depend on anything else. It is in oneself alone. For such a person, there is nothing to be done, and even when he or she does something, it does not affect the person's happiness in any manner. This always content person is one who has given up all attachment to the result of action. Such a person is also described as nirasrayaha, free from all dependence. He or she does not depend upon anything for security or happiness, knowing that there is nothing more secure than self. In fact, everything exists because of this self. In the self, everything has its being. Even the mind has its being in the self alone, as does everything that is reported to the mind by the thoughts. Existence itself is the nature, Swarupa of Atma. Therefore, everything has its ashray, dependence or basis in Atma. Just as the post depends upon the clay for its egg, pot depends upon the clay for its existence. A better example would be the situation of seeing a snake on a rope. When you take the rope to be a snake, the snake has its existence, satta, in the rope. The rope snake has no existence except the existence of the rope. There is no snake existence except the existence of the rope. Similarly, the world Jagat has no existence except the existence of the self. There is no Jagat, there is no existence of Jagat without existence of the self. The person who is aware of this fact is nirashraya, one who depends on nothing for his or her fullness of satisfaction. Because the self as the whole is already full, the person knows I am the whole. I am the ashray of everything. In fact, everything is me. This person has given up all attachment to the fruits of action, not as an attitude, not by karma yoga, but by knowledge. This is very important to understand. That person has given up all attachments of the fruits, to the fruits of action, not as an attitude, not by karma yoga, but by knowledge, by jnana only. A karma yogi also gives up attachment to karma phala, but by attitude, accepting Ishvara as the giver of the result, karma phala data. This person takes everything as prasada without reacting, but it is yoga, not jnana.
Karma phala received by karma yoga is by attitude, not jnana, which is entirely different. Yoga is relative, and therefore the person's tranquility is also relative, while this kind of mind is definitely useful for gaining the knowledge. The distinction between yoga, which is an attitude implying an understanding of Ishvara, and vidya, knowledge, must be very clear. Because the karma yogi accepts Ishvara as the karma phala data, he or she has an attitude of taking things as they come and leaving them as they go. It means the person has a mind that does not react and is therefore not under the spell of raga, dvesha. Here in this verse, the same karma yogi has the knowledge of the self as a karta. So even though this wise person may be engaged in an enormous number of activities, the self is not taken to be the doer. King Janaka has said to be such a person. King Janaka was said to be such a person. Even though he was a jnani, he ruled a kingdom and he ruled it well. He had a handle on everything and always knew what was going on. The kingdom was prosperous and everyone was happy. Thus a jnani can enthusiastically engage himself or herself in number of activities and still perform no action. Neva kinchit karoti saha, in terms of knowledge that he or she is not the doer. An actor who plays the role of a killer does not take himself to be the killer. Even before he removes the makeup, he sees himself as not doing anything. And if while playing a role he kicks someone, he knows that he does not kick. When he goes backstage later, he does not say to the person, I am sorry, I kicked you. Nor does he need to excuse himself in this way. He may, however, ask whether it was a good kick, to which the other person may reply, yes, it was a good kick. It did not hurt me at all. You kicked very well, because they know they are playing roles. They can talk only about the nature of the action, but they cannot talk about it as though one person did something to another and needs to apologize. The actor who kicked is not to be blamed. Nor is there any action involved, because there is no doership. There is kartatva abhava and there is no karta either. Karma and jnana are two different topics. Kartatva, doership, is the whole problem. In fact, samsara is centered to this doership. Centered to this doership alone. Atma Jnana. Atma Jnana is the subject matter of Vedanta. Is opposed to karma. In that jnana and karma are entirely distinct. Most of the Veda is karma kanda. Most of the Vedanta is karma kanda. Jnana Vedanta comes at the end. Jnana Vedanta comes in the end. The end of the Veda, the last chapter, is Vedanta. Even though it is the last chapter, Vedanta is mentioned separately because there are two different topics involved. Karma and Jnana. One being entirely different from the other, the two are in opposition. Karma and Jnana. Karma means samsara. Jnana is moksha. Karma implies karta. Jnana destroys the karta. Karma implies ignorance. Jnana destroys ignorance. Therefore, jnana implies a kartatva and karma implies kartatva. Jnana implies a kartatva and karma implies kartatva. Keeping the karta that is already there in view, the Veda tells you to do karma. This is where karma can be converted into yoga. The karta is retained and the karma is converted into yoga. To gain the maturity that perhaps the mind or jnana, the discovery that you are a karta. There is no shortcut to maturity, and one does have to be mature for gaining knowledge. Maturity takes its own time. Therefore, it is not a question of doing it in 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years. When one may have n numerous of birth, before 20 years or 10 years or 5 years means nothing. A man may have been studying Vedanta for 80 years before he begin seeing clearly. When he is 99, he may say, now I have understood. What does it matter that he has only one more year to live? Even if a person does not start until he is 80-year-old and understand when he is 98, what does it matter? After knowledge, all that remain is prarabdha. Whether he lives another year or more means nothing whatsoever. That it takes a person so many years to understand does not mean anything. The maturity required for the knowledge to take place, antahkaran shuddhi, has to be gained, and there is no hurry. No hurry at all. Hurrying it does not work. In fact, it is like waiting for banana to rip. You cannot sit beside the banana tree and say to a green banana, come on, hurry up and mature, ripen, so that I can eat you. You have to let it ripen. Only then will it be soft and tasty. It takes its own time and there is nothing you can do about it. All processes of ripening and growth are the same, including the maturity of the mind. Yoga is meant for this purpose. Antakaran Shuddhi. Yoga is meant for this Antakaran Shuddhi. In this sense, then karma is useful. Once the mind is ready, jnana takes place. Therefore, while jnana is opposed to karma, karma contributes to jnana, which is why karma comes first in Veda and jnana comes afterwards. Karma has to come first because it is due to ajnana, ignorance. If person takes himself or herself to be karta, a doer, the person is ignorant. Therefore, as karta retaining the kartatva, the person has to mature. Only then can jnana comes. Maturity implies two levels, the subjective and the empirical. Subjectively, we gather a lot of problems, all of which have to be accounted for and then taken care of. Then empirically, there are wrong conclusions in terms of values, relationships, and so on, which also have to be taken care of. In this, it is with the reference to these level of maturity that Karma Yoga comes in. Karma Yoga leads to jnana, the knowledge that I am non-doer, aham akarata. Once this knowledge is gained, the person performs no action. Thus, the Veda has two entirely different subject matter, karma and jnana. The first portion of the Veda that deals with karma is called karma phala, karma kanda. The second portion that deals with jnana is called jnana kanda. Jnana kanda Vedanta. An analysis of the karma kanda is in terms of what karma is to be done, how it is to be done, and so on is called karma mimamsa or purva mimamsa. This is in form of karma mimamsa sutra written by Gemini. a disciple of Vyasa. Similarly, an analysis on Gyan Kanda is called Uttara Mimamsa. This is in form of Brahma Sutra, written by Vyasa himself. In Brahma Sutra, the sentence of the Upanishad, the main sentences of the Upanishads are fully analyzed. The subject matter is further analyzed in the light of various schools of thoughts. This analysis is called Manana. Finally, what Vedanta itself says is established. Vedanta is separate because karma and jnana are two different topics, neither of which is ordinary. Nothing is ordinary here. This is the entire subject matter of Krishna's teaching in the Gita. When you understand karma and jnana properly, you are free. This knowledge implies understanding the nature of Atma as being a karta. Given the importance of continuing in the same vein, Krishna continues to say, the one knows self is free from expectations. The one is free from expectations. Krishna says the one who knows the self as whole is free from all expectations. He doesn't have any expectations. All expectations, all desires are fulfilled with knowledge. Nirashiryat Chitatma Tyakta Sarva Parigraha Shariram Kevalam Karma Kurvannopanoti Kilvasham. Nirashi Yat Chit Atma Tyakta Sarva Parigraha Shariram Kevalam Karma Kurvan Na Apanoti Kilimbhisham. Nirashya, free from expectation. Yata Chitta Atma, one whose body, mind and senses have been mastered. Tyakta Sarva Parigraha, one who has given up all possessions. Kevalam, mere. Shariram, for the substance of the body. Karma, action. Kurvan, doing. Kalibhisham, sin. Na apnoti, does not occur. The person who is free of expectation, whose body, mind and senses have been mastered, who have given up all possessions, doing only action that sustains the body, does not incur sin. Sustaining the body by jnani, actions done to sustain the body by a jnani, does not incur sin. While describing a wise person, a jnani, Krishna presents different kind of people in terms of karma. We saw the jnani who engage in numerous activities knowing he or she is not doing anything. Karamani abhipravritto pi naiva kinchit karoti saha. In this verse, while still describing the jnani, Krishna introduces a different type of person who knows that Atma is a karta. As in the previous verse, here also the first line describes the jnani and the second line describes the lifestyle of the person. In this verse, the one who knows the self is said to be nirasheha, one who is free from expectations. Asish also means hope. But here the negative prefix nirasis does not mean that person is hopeless. It means he or she is free from hope. He doesn't hope. He is not hopeless. Jnani doesn't become hopeless. He is free from hope, free from expectation. He doesn't have any expectation. Thus, Jnani is one from whom all expectations have dropped away. And how does this happen? We will see this whole chapter tomorrow. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudashyati Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyati. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. पूर्णमदः पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः ॐ